Welcome on into Falcons Today by Chat Sports. Matthew Peterson here, recapping some of the latest NFL trade rumors that involve the Atlanta Falcons. So we're going to break down everything we know so far and what, the dots are saying as we kind of connect them bit by bit. But let's start things off by looking at linebacker Hassan Reddick, the Jets pass rusher who we know has been sitting out all season long in hopes of getting a new contract from the team after getting traded from the Eagles to the Jets while he was searching for a contract change with Philadelphia. Now, the reason that we're going to talk closely about Hassan Reddick today is the Jets lost in London to the Vikings, which has stirred up a lot of Davante Adams speculation. So sit with me for a moment here because I'm going to connect the two. But as the Jets start to get maybe more and more desperate, looking for a Davante Adams trade to save their season, Hassan Reddick could be moved as a result. Now, Jordan Schultz just reported that teams interested in trading for Adams have been told it's unrealistic for the Raiders to expect a second rounder while also having to acquire the team's take on his full 2024 salary. So we have clearly some leakage going on here, right? You've got teams looking to trade for Adams, leaking stuff to Jordan Schultz to let the Raiders know, we're not going to give you what you're asking for, so lower your asking price, which of course led to the Raiders leaking some stuff of their own to Jordan Schultz, saying, expect things to ramp up this week, but the Raiders are open to holding on to Davante Adams if they cannot get something done. And when you look at the AFC East and the Jets sitting at 2 and 3, maybe they feel some desperation really start to kick in. Because right now you've got this, proxy war essentially being had between all the teams, leaking stuff to reporters, tweeting out what they're hearing, and ultimately a chess game going on. But the Jets, if they truly want to get Davante Adams, may have to pony up what the Raiders are asking for. And if that happens, they may look to recoup some draft assets. If they eventually bend the knee and give the Raiders the second-round draft pick they are looking for, they may turn around and go, okay, let's try and get some of our draft capital back, and let's ultimately just end this just completely hysterically bad situation we have with Hassan Reddick, and let's just get something for the player. Because right now, we're down a draft pick, and we have a guy who's just sitting on his couch every Sunday, probably not even watching our games. So if that happens, there you might see the Falcons go, all right, New York, we see you just landed Reddick. We see you just landed Adams. Maybe you're looking to get a draft pick back. How about we entertain a trade here? You've got Davante Adams. You're down a second-round draft pick. We're not going to give you a second-round draft pick for Hassan Reddick. You only gave up a third-round draft pick for him, but we'll give you a fourth-round pick. Yes, you lost on this trade with Reddick, but in a way you kind of won because every single game that he has skipped, you have made $800,000 from him, so he's somewhat made this team a profit in a lot of ways. So if you want to just end those paydays and get some draft picks back, take our fourth, enjoy Adams, and ultimately you can kind of look at the Adams trade as they got Davante Adams and it cost them about a third-round draft pick since they sent a second out, but they got a fourth in for a guy who was contributing zilch, nothing, squat, nada to the team. Meanwhile, Reddick steps into Atlanta, hopefully, I wouldn't say with a new contract done, but hopefully with a better circumstances and a better situation, and he is ready to play football in 2024 for Atlanta and help salvage this awful pass rush, which we'll look at in just a second. But really quickly, help us break a channel record here, which is we've never had 5 straight videos get 400 or more likes. We've got 4 in a row right now. 5 would be the record. So if you have not liked our video yet, please consider doing so. It'd be awesome to set a new channel record. Next trade rumor out there is Giants outside linebacker Azeez Ojulari. He is from Marietta, so an Atlanta guy, would love a homecoming, I am sure, a former Georgia Bulldog, and he is not a part of the Giants defense all that much. He's in the final year of a contract, and He's playing 37% of snaps. They've got Brian Burns firing on all cylinders. They got Kayvon Thibodeau, their former top 5 draft pick, firing on all cylinders. There's just not a big role for Ojulari in this Giants defense. Plus, it's a 2-3 Giants squad that, comes off a really exciting win against the Seahawks. But as that November 5th trade deadline gets closer and closer, if they start to stack up a couple of more losses, why would they want to hold on to a guy that's on an expiring deal who's not even starting on this defense when the Falcons are at least going to give him something for someone who's playing at best about a third of a game every single Sunday? As for Atlanta, listen, Ojulari is probably not going to come in here and completely turn around this pass rush, but it's a start because he has the same number of sacks as Dee Alford, who is tied for second on this team. Dee Alford's a nickel corner, by the way, if you didn't know. So you got to bring someone in. You have to make an effort, right? Ojulari might not be the belle of the ball, but he's at least going to bring a new spunk in and try and bring some pulse to this pass rush, which is stinking out loud right now. They got to make a couple of changes, like stop dropping Judon into coverage, start sending him after the quarterback more. Carter is just playing out there like cardio. He's basically on a treadmill for 60 minutes. See what you can get out of Arnold Ebiketie. Try to revamp some of the interior defensive line because no one outside of the name of Grady, Jarrett is contributing to the pass rush. And also, look to see what you can do in the trade market because this is a Falcons team that is ready to win right now. Do not let the lack of a pass rush hold you back in January. Before we look at my next 3 trade targets and candidates on today's episode, I want to fill everyone in on our wonderful sponsor, Game Time. If you want to go to a Falcons game or any other sporting event in your area, visit Game Time because they have an awesome deal called Game Time Picks, which filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats. So you don't spend all that time searching for the best deals, spending 30 minutes on your phone or computer, only to realize there's a bunch of fees at the end of this. Now, with Game Time, you can toggle an all-in price option so you know right from the start what you're paying out the door. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply, but I put all that information in the comments and description of today's video. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. Moving on to our next 3 trade candidates and rumors, I'm going to lump these 2 wide receivers together. We've got Amari Cooper from the Cleveland Browns and Davante Adams from the Las Vegas Raiders. Do the Falcons need a wide receiver? No. Do the Falcons feel like they may have a really small window to win a Super Bowl with an older quarterback in Kirk Cousins and feel like Adams could be an absolute game changer for them? Possibly. And that's why I'm at least discussing Adams. Remember, the background on Davante is that he is clearly unhappy in Las Vegas. He preferred to a trade a couple of weeks ago. He has missed the last 2 games. I feel like a trade is imminent at this point, but I don't think the Atlanta Falcons are dying to get a wide receiver unless they feel like this is a rare opportunity to get a Pro Bowl, All-Pro caliber receiver in the middle of the season for a lot cheaper than what it would be in the off season. And we feel like we're not one receiver away from having a great receiving unit, but we're one star player away from being truly unstoppable. Now, Amari Cooper is in a somewhat different situation than Adams. He has not requested a trade. He's just not on a very good Browns team. They are 1-4. Cooper is on the final year of his contract. He has been underwhelming through the first 5 games, leading the NFL in drops. So he's not really helping his own trade value here. But we know Cooper has been one of the most reliable receivers in the NFL for the last 10 years or so. So I don't think it's very likely Atlanta looks to trade for a receiver. Drake London, Darnell Mooney, and Ray McCloud have done more than a good job. They've done a fantastic job. But the only path I see for the Falcons going out and getting Adams or Cooper would be if they feel like we cannot improve our defense substantially in October or November. There is no one we can get realistically in the trade market that's going to come in here and save our pass rush. So if we know we can't stop them defensively enough and get after the quarterback, and we know we're going to give up more 24-point first half performances like the Saints and like the Bucs, well, then we have to put up 30 points without a problem. We have to average 30 points without blinking. And a good way to do that is to add another superstar like Adams or Cooper. So if it came down to it, would you trade a third-round draft pick for Davante Adams? Yes or no? Scroll on down. I want to hear from everyone watching. Again, the Falcons do not need a wide receiver. But if they know they can't stop him on defense, and 30 points might not even be enough sometimes, they may feel like we need to be so talented and so loaded on offense that we can afford a defense that gives up 24, 30 points, and we are not worried. Fifth and final trade rumor out there. Eagles linebacker Devin White, our old friend from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Well, I don't think White is going to be in Philly for that much longer. I mean, for starters, he has not played a single game this season. He had an ankle injury pop up before week 1 when Philly played in Brazil against the Packers. Since then, he was either a healthy scratch or downgraded to out for personal reasons. I'm not really sure what is going on with Devin White, whether it is just he's upset with having no role on this team, and the Eagles don't really feel the need to create a role for him because they like what Nakobe Dean and some of their other players are doing, so they're just happy to make him a healthy scratch each week. But if you're the Eagles, why would you hold on to a guy that's basically just a prisoner on this team? He's not contributing to anything. He hasn't suited up once this year. He has 0 games played in 2024. Now, the Atlanta Falcons linebacker room has been beat up a little bit. Just before I started filming, we did get some good news about a certain linebacker. But yeah, the linebackers have been, unfortunately, in and out of the trainer's office. We've seen Troy Anderson get injured. We have seen Nate Landman get injured. So there have been multiple linebackers who have either been on IR or have missed time. So with Landman thankfully coming back from IR, that might reduce the need to go out and trade for a linebacker. But with Anderson battling a knee injury, you may feel like this is desperation mode from the Falcons. We have to throw a Hail Mary here and just try and bring some linebacker in to ease the blow of Anderson and or Landman missing time. Like I said, Nate Landman, thankfully, and we'll talk about this more tomorrow since the news came in right before I began filming. He has been designated to return from injured reserve, which he was placed on right before the Week 2 Monday night game in Philly. But Anderson missed Week 5 with a knee injury he picked up in the Saints win that's been bothering him. So if these injuries either linger or persist as we get closer to the trade deadline, the Falcons may decide we don't have a pass rush. We can't afford to not be able to stop the run either because we don't have healthy linebackers. We got to at least bring in some depth because the JT Bertrand game was not a very good one, if we're being honest, against the Buccaneers. JT. But which trade would you do? Of the 5 we looked at today, which one catches your eye the most? Let me know in the comment section below whether it's Hassan Reddick, Azeez Ojulari, Cooper, Adams, or Devin White. Scroll on down. I want to hear from everyone watching. If it were up to me and I was Terry Fontenot, I would be taking down cell towers in New Jersey to get Hassan Reddick. There is no one out there at this point that's going to walk in the door and save this Falcons pass rush, except for maybe Hassan Reddick. Now, it's a tough thing to solve for because there is a big contract dispute, and there's no guarantee if you don't give him a contract extension that he is not going to sit out with Atlanta like he is with the Jets. I'm not sure if it's even the Falcons' best interest in the middle of the season to give a guy a contract extension just because he is begging for one. This is not a player that you've had in your facility before. We're just going to give the guy an extension the moment he walks in the door because you're that desperate to trade for him. You might not make a great deal long term to satisfy your short term needs. That's a dicey decision. That's not a spot I envy to be in. But with this team right now looking like a real contender in the NFC, you have to make some noise and make some moves to improve this pass rush.